मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, अपन जितने क्वेश्चंस पूछेंगे वो सब. हाय, आई एम चिंतन सर. गुड इवनिंग सर. इट इज एन e-talk show. It's not a Zoom call. Welcome to Wise Exchange, India's first e-talk show, where we invite the best real estate icons to come amongst us for a one-on-one conversation. We try to understand from them what it was, what it is, and what it will be for the Indian real estate industry. Come join us for a live conversation and let's hear it from the horse's mouth. Hi, I'm Chintan Vasani. Good morning to everyone. Welcome to Wise Exchange, presented by Wisebiz Realty. Wisebiz Realty is a real estate market research, strategic planning, and a closure management firm. Wise Exchange is an initiative by us to connect the person behind the success, the person behind the brand. It's an honest effort to understand their journey. Our today's guest represents one of India's leading architecture firm, reD Architects. Today's guest, architect Rajiv Parekh. After completing his educations from Kamla Raheja or Krivya as commonly known these days, and Pratt at New York, Brooklyn, and a summer course at AA London, Rajiv returned to his native Mumbai and founded reD, along with his wife Ekta, with an aim to create a purpose and a process-oriented international benchmark for contemporary architectural and design. Later joined by Apurva Shroff, Maithili Raut, and a huge supporting team, reD now boasts of some of the most talented architects and designers in India and affectionately known as Team reD or Team Reds or the Reds. Rajiv works in concert with each client, a process he says that gives him the unique opportunity to create a dialogue, the research, and galvanizes distinct concepts and captures key personalized characteristics of reD's clients. The reDs continue to grow their already incredible reputation as collaborative talents and innovators in the field. And I can vouch for it, as at the very start of my real estate career, the first ever architect I worked with for this particular building where we have our Wisebiz headquarters was architect Rajiv Parekh. But before I get him online, Rajiv, there's a small surprise for you. We have invited India's leading indie drum circle facilitator, mentalist, TEDx speaker, and a musician who has conducted over 800 shows. His last one was with 40,000 participants in India. This was before the lockdown, and he has done a lot of shows in India and abroad. Amrut Bhatt. Rajiv, this is a small surprise for you from Team Wisebiz.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Chintan. Hi Rajiv, I hope you're doing well. I have seen some work by reD Architects and I should tell you, I am amazed. And today we have a musical surprise for you. This is from myself and Team Wisebiz. We hope that you like and enjoy this. I hope you liked that surprise and we would love to hear some more about you, Rajiv. All the best.
Thank you, Amrut. And let me quickly get Rajiv Parekh. Welcome, Rajiv. Welcome to Wise Exchange.
Hi, Chintan. Good to have you here. Good to be here. And Amrut was awesome. So very impressive. I love how you pull these surprises out of your hat always in every interaction.
So, every guy every of our guests, we want to do something very special. So, Amrut was specially selected by my wife Kripali, and he said, Rajiv ko agar bula rahe na, to usko ye dhol wala bahut acha lagega. So, Amrut, thank you so much for coming on board. And
Thank you,
Rajiv, welcome to
Amrut.
Wise.
That was amazing. Amazing, Amrut.
Thank you. Rajiv, welcome to Wise Exchange. Let me quickly take you through the format of our talk show. So, Rajiv, we have divided the entire talk show into three parts: what it was when you started your career, how did reD come into picture, how did reD start their journey. Then we'll quickly go to what it is, the current situation, and how are you guys dealing with the current pandemic, and what are the changes and the things happening around. And then we will be going to what it may be, the future, which I think Mr. Future Rajiv would be your favorite part would be this, and we would love to hear a lot of things from you. So Rajiv, let's quickly start the talk show with what it was. Rajiv, your early days, we would want to know, did you always wanted to be an architect?
So yeah, pretty much. I would say I think around seventh standard, I took this keen interest in carpentry, and I kind of liked the idea of getting my hands dirty and building something physically. As much as I enjoy sort of theorizing and stuff like that, but just playing with ideas in your head. But I do like the idea of actually physically building the idea and seeing it become a reality. So I think around that time, so by about 8th or 9th, or maybe even latest by 10th, I knew I was going to do architecture. The result of that was back then you had to do science as a stream to apply for architecture, to be eligible to apply for architecture. So I took that on, went to Xavier's, and I knew I wanted to do architecture. It was just a question of where then. So I looked at CEPT, looked at Trivia. Those were my two sort of preferred options. But yeah, pretty much from get-go, I wanted to be an architect or an interior designer. Actually, I could have even been a product designer. I was open to that also. So I still love the idea of design fundamentally. So yeah.
How did Pratt happen?
Pratt was so actually before Pratt, I went to CEPT and I did School of Interior Design under Krishna Shastri for 1 year. I realized over there I was getting into a space where I would take my own sweet time to design and to ideate and evaluate so many options that I would never arrive at a final option. So there would be times when I would not even deliver on the end jury. But then I shifted to Trivia after spending a month examining the studio classes there and seeing if it was something that I wanted to do. But after I finished my 5 years at Kamla Raheja, I was a bunch of my friends, actually Ekta, Kunal, Milind, they were all applying for their masters. They were 1 year senior to me. So rather than waiting for a year, I just did my applications with them. And I blindly applied to universities that they were applying to. And I got into UPenn and Pratt and a bunch of others. Out of that, I chose Pratt because of New York. And Ekta, who I was already dating by then, chose UPenn. So we kind of split at that point to look at two different universities to get two different kinds of exposures in terms of our educational background. So that eventually, when we were back in India together, we brought a different mindset to the design problems presented to us.
Right. And Rajiv, I've heard that you have worked in New York also before coming back to Mumbai. So what was that experience?
So New York was a great learning curve. The first job was with a restoration-based firm, so J. Butler, and that was great because you go up and down the brownstones and the Central Park-facing buildings, examining them, looking at really sort of details that were done in a particular time period, using particular materials. So it taught you a lot about materiality, taught you about how it ages, what you need to do. It could be simple things like just the caulking cement used. So it taught you a lot in terms of on the ground, in terms of restoration and sort of cherishing your past and sort of presenting it in the right light so that it doesn't age and fade, and preserving things that are of value from the past. And after that, I also worked with another firm, which was P. Wolf, which did a whole bunch of stuff for educational institutes, hospitals, healthcare, stuff like that. So that was a different kind of exposure again. But over there, I had an Italian boss who taught me a very core value. Like he kind of put it. It's an Italian saying, which I don't know how to speak in Italian, but translated it means what doesn't kill you puts hair on your chest. So it was basically about persevere, hammer through, and whatever you go through will make you stronger. And that's kind of the lesson I sort of partake. And even when we're dealing with the pandemic, it's like, if it doesn't kill you, it's gonna, you'll come out stronger, bigger, better out of it. So, or
And
you die.
right. And once you were back, Rajiv, did you always wanted to start your own architecture firm, or you wanted to join someone?
Pretty much. I think in India, I did my sort of traineeship with Shakti Parmar. That was my 3 months or 4 months of working in India. But once I came back, I had this amazing client who gave me this beautiful project, which was 1 bathroom in Deonar. So after my master's degree, I did an 80 square foot bathroom in Deonar. That's what I came back to. But I was, those were sort of different times, but it was good. It was good. Like, you learned a lot. In that 1 bathroom, we did every single design idea we could think of, so it's the most overdone bathroom ever. But it was fun. So that's what started our journey once we came back.
Done. We would like to know more about reD. What does it stand for? How does the name come? What is reD?
So reD actually stands for Research, Inquiry, Design, which was the ethos of our company, that any project that came to us, we wanted to look at it from the idea of, studying the past, looking at examples what people had done or not done, seeing, not just to see what should be done, but also to see what should not be done. I think part of the learning curve is to understand what should not be done. And that was the idea. So it stands for Research, Inquiry, Design. And it came about basically looking at a postcard at the Whitney, and we decided, it was Courier New Font. It was the detailed dictionary meaning of reD. And that's when we sort of were toying around, and that was our weekends in New York. So you either went and saw like 3 movies back to back, or you visited 2 or 3 museums back to back.
Right.
And one of those visits, the postcard in the sort of curio shop at the Whitney had this thing, and it connected with us. And but it could also stand for Rajiv Ekta Designs, but for now it is Research, Inquiry, Design.
Perfect. Rajiv, I know you don't like talking much about it, but my wife has forced me, because she's a big Shah Rukh Khan fan. And the whole world knows that, you have worked for Mannat and you have worked for Shah Rukh's office, Red Chillies. How did that come into, how did Shah Rukh approached you?
So actually, Shah Rukh didn't approach me. He approached one of my architecture buddies and a very, very dear friend, Ritesh Deshmukh. He's, of course, a movie star of reckoning today. But he approached him, and Ritesh basically collaborated with us. That's how we got roped into the project. And we actually believe in a highly collaborative environment, even in our office. So even when Amrut played the musical piece, I feel music in that sense, it's like you need a whole bunch of instruments, and that working in a symphony, working together, hitting the right notes at the right time, creates a far more exquisite musical experience, actually an experience per se. And similarly, I think we look at design like that. We look at it as a collaborative work, whether it's with the carpenters, electricians, MEP consultants, structural engineers, other design aspects, graphics, etc. So we've actually been really blessed to be a part of some really great collaboration. So Shah Rukh was a result of Ritesh and me working together. And after that, so his office building at Red Chillies, which they currently are in Khar, was designed by me and Ritesh together. And then at that point, some point, I think Gauri approached us we've not done Mannat. Mannat's originally been done by Gauri and Kaif, I think. But after that, we just worked on 1.5 floor, which was Aryan's floor and Suhana's and, Abram. So that's what we worked with. But even in that collaboration, I mean, that led to another sort of interaction, which was with Gauri. And Gauri and me really connected. And then we worked on a whole bunch of projects with her together as a team. So it wasn't Shah Rukh, it was Gauri who actually approached us. But
Right. So this section was exclusively for Kripali. She's watching it and she's like, make sure, I want to know how did Shah Rukh Khan thing happen, and make sure up online you tell Rajiv that she's a very big fan, and if possible, please make her meet Shah Rukh whenever you can.
So I can meet Gauri. But no, Shah Rukh actually was great. I mean, throughout the building design process, whenever Ritesh and us presented to him, he is, I think he's the most super smart, very well read, knowledgeable. I mean, I'm not at all knowledgeable about the film industry, but he's knowledgeable about architecture, about interiors. On par with what I would have. He'd quote projects across the world. So same for Gauri. I mean, super talented interior designer now herself, running her own fantastic practice. Tremendous exposure, very driven, very focused, both of them. So hats off.
Good. Rajiv, one incident or one turning point of your career from the past?
So I think the decision to come back, because it was a turning point for us. Either I would have started my own practice there with my Italian boss then, or move back. So I think the decision to move back, we were lucky at the timing that we moved back. We came in contact once we returned. We got some great opportunities. It was a time when people were looking for more sort of creative solutions to designs. Typically before that, when I was working with Shakti, the idea was sometimes that the client would come to you and say that, oh, I have seen that project which you've done. Can you do something similar? Now they will come and say, oh, I have seen Chintan's house. It's beautiful. Can you do something like that, but different? So the idea that people started acknowledging that they didn't just want to imitate something, but they expected the architect or the designer that they collaborated with or worked with on their project to take it one step higher with every project, to use that as a guideline of where they came from or what they liked or what their preferences were, but not to literally imitate that, but to do something bigger, better, different, more customized, more unique to their personal palette. And that's what we enjoy. That's what we thrive on. So I think we just got lucky with the timing that we moved back. So that was a key turning point. And after that, when we moved into this office of ours, I would say was the next turning point. We went through a couple of sort of stepping stones along the way. But now this office that we came into, suddenly people realized, oh, we're a larger firm. Oh, we have, and it gave us the space to host art shows, to have creative dialogues with other architects, with other product designers, with artists. So collaborative studios with artists, I think, have helped the studio, helped us start thinking differently, looking at our own projects differently again. So I feel that the space is now conducive to more creative exploration. So that's been a sort of stepping stone for us now.
Perfect. Rajiv, let's quickly go to what it is, the current situation. How has the current pandemic and lockdown situation changed the interior and architecture perspective, and how has it affected reD, or how have you faced this particular situation? Are things different now?
So things are different. I think the current situation calls for an introspection, for sure. It has changed how we execute sites. It has changed how we approach the collaborative design process in the studio. I'm still learning. I don't think I have fully become, actually, I shouldn't lie. I'm not still very comfortable with the online format. I'm still a little old school. I like to see the person across me. I like physical interactions with the client, because I feel right now when you're looking at me and we're interacting with the audience, you're still looking at a frame. You're not seeing my body language. You're not seeing how I'm stepping from one side to the other. There's a lot about me. There's a limited frame which I'm showing you. You're not seeing what is behind the camera. Maybe someone is prompting me. Maybe there's a teleprompter. I just feel more comfortable when I physically interact with my team or with the client. I feel a lot more that I read into the person, into the body language, into the finer nuances of human interaction. I enjoy that. I thrive on it. And I feel I respond to it differently versus an online transaction. But I do have to, that's one part of it, is the sort of online format of working. Having said that, I think we have learned in terms of that it's not impossible to do. It does lead to actually more focused time. So sometimes, if I'm in the studio and I'm talking to one of the kids and we're having a design sort of discussion, someone else will walk in, interrupt that conversation, break the chain of thought, and I'll be forced to respond to that. Now, when I'm on a Zoom call, or if I'm on a sort of, sorry, not a Zoom, but any of the online platforms interacting, it's actually very focused. So being focused allows me to quickly sort of, resolve it versus being distracted. So I think it conserves a lot of the studio people's time. because they get a focused interaction versus a distracted interaction. And that helps, So even very quickly, like the other day, I'm working on this. We've got this new project in the middle of this pandemic, which is an office for a PE in Delhi. And, what would otherwise, for that kid to come and discuss that layout with me would have taken a week. We've had 4 or 5 calls over 3 days, 10 minutes call, 3 minutes call, but boom, boom, boom. And, the changes, you mark it out on the platform across the screen. And within, a couple of hours, that kid is also focused because he or she are also not distracted. So maybe the advantage is that, maybe like you said, I think Ekta and Maithili and Apurva have adapted better. They're able to run this online thing far, far more effectively. I started coming to the office June 1st, I used to sit here alone, do my work, and then, gradually now more people have started coming.
So do you guys take work home?
Oh yeah, totally. I take work everywhere.
Are there fixed timings, like, when you can work and you can chill, or you work 24/7?
So I don't think, so here's where sort of, a lot of people think I'm an idiot, but I enjoy what I do. I don't feel burdened by it. Like today I came to the office, so I'm doing this call from the office because I needed to sort of focus and work on something. And I enjoy coming to the office. Luckily now the office space is very beautiful, and I just love sitting in different parts of it, thinking, sometimes reading, sketching, anything at all. So I feel work is fun, and I don't think I feel burdened by it. So I don't feel the need to say that, okay, now work stops and life starts. To me, it's all sort of seamless and one sort of consistent thing. I mean, if I'm traveling, if I'm reading, if I'm driving, like right now, we're doing a site in Ahmedabad, and because I don't want to take flights, I'm driving to Ahmedabad, but I can be on the phone, I'm thinking of something, I'll open up my laptop, I'll type something. So it doesn't bother me. I don't think so. Even with me and Ekta, it's not like there are rules of engagement that once you go home, you stop talking about work. But of course, now that our kids are there, I mean, I have twin daughters who are 7.5 now. I engage them in the work conversation. I'm explaining to them, if I'm doing these virtual sort of walks with the Art Basel team, or sometimes we're a part of FICA, which is this conglomeration of about 40 people who are promoting Indian contemporary artists. And there are walks through people's homes, or a curator is walking us through a show, and the girls will hop into that and they will plug in. They don't have the patience to sit through for half an hour or 1 hour, but Zera is already aspiring that I'm going to be an artist, and it's great. So I feel, if we can give our children the exposure to things that we enjoy, they learn to choose whether they like it or they don't like it, and maybe they'll enjoy it, maybe they won't. But I think it's good if they're a part of it. I take them to the factory on Sundays. Now they don't want to come with me, but earlier I used to take them a lot more often every Sunday to the factory, and they had to hammer. So one of the guys in the factory on the CNC would drill holes for them and give them these plastic screws and mallets. And their job was that if they wanted to earn their ice cream, they had to hammer 40 or 50 or whatever number of them. And depending on how many they did, would be the portion of ice cream that they got. So I think it's essential that they understand that, hard work is essential, effort is proportionate to rewards, and, something like that. I just feel some level of value, and they realize that, your parents are working, and it's okay if they're working. I mean, they're a part of our life, whether we're working or we're chilling. So I think it's good to bring them in on board on the whole sort of your roller coaster ride of life.
Do they have some space in the new office? Both of them?
When they come, they have a free run of the entire office. So we have this courtyard, which has a large sort of concrete table. So they sit there. We have a presentation area, which are a couple of sofas. So they have this white architectural Lego box. They'll open that up, spread out, and they're trying to build their own things. I don't think they're good yet, but they're having fun with it. So I keep trying to be harsh in terms of giving them judgment on that. I think that, it's so easy to criticize, right? It's so hard to build. To put myself into a 7-year-old's mind and to build something, it's interesting. They have a whole other perspective. Very large beds they make. So there'll be flat pieces of Lego, which are large beds. So, but anyway, so they have fun with it. So yeah, they have a full run of it. They'll take crayons, color pencils, sit on the floor anywhere. They'll tap into the kids in the office and they'll play with them for some time. of course, the nasty boss in me goes out and says like, stop distracting everyone, let them work, But yeah, they have fun there. They're welcome in the office. We have a green space outside, so sometimes they'll have cartwheel competitions outside in the lawn. So it's fun.
To all my viewers, I would want to say one of the best offices I feel of any of my friends, it is Rajiv's, the reD Architect office. I would insist every one of you to go on YouTube and search for it. It is one of the best made offices that I've seen in a longest time. Rajiv, I love that office, and please call me jaldi after the pandemic and everything is.
Anytime. We have a nice. The girls are coffee sort of field, so they have invested in a nice coffee machine, so we can offer you good coffee. So I'm more simple. I still like that Feta Hua, Nescafe Classic. The poor man's coffee I enjoy, but I don't have a very refined palate like my partners.
Done. We will pakka do that. Rajiv, so we ask this question to all the architects who come to our show. Design trends come and go. How do you make sure reD Architects' work is timeless?
I don't know if reD Architects' work is timeless, honestly. I know that's a quality we should aspire to be, but I look at reD Architects' work as very contextual, very. It responds to the client, it responds to the environment, it responds to the budgets, the constraints, the time limitations. I feel it's very contextual. It's something that we strongly do hard. So I tell clients, like, when you give me a design brief, don't be restricted by budget. Let dream. I feel a lot of architecture is about dream. Ideas are about dreaming, right? And I even encourage, kids in the office to like just think of something. Leave the burden of resolving it, making that idea work, fitting it in a budget, value engineering it for materials, for labor, for locally available limited resources, things like that, making it green so that you're not transporting materials from one part of the country to another, or one part of the world to another part of the world, just because it's something that you desire. But it needs to respond to the fact that, like a client, right? So I could do anything. Like I could, like, for example, to talk in, CV is the complete brand man. This is the first time I'm not seeing you wear anything branded. So I guess it is branded. Wisebiz. Yeah. I correct myself. But inspired by you, I decided to sort of do some branding of my own.
So,
but
my team, they were just nudging me. They were like, "Sir, jab ye khatam ho jayega na." We have seen Rajiv also wearing a red car T-shirt. So they are a very cool bunch of people. So they like, sir, जब ये अपना खत्म हो जाएगा टॉक शो, आप भी टी-शर्ट निकालो, उनको भी बोलो निकालने को, और वो आप एक्सचेंज करो जैसे फुटबॉल मैचेस में खत्म होता है. मैं बोला Rajiv is very fit. I still have to like lose some weight, and I'm gonna do that in the next interview.
Done. I'll send it across to you. I'll courier it across. That's actually a very old T-shirt. I had forgotten about it until I saw you. It's something that we did when we did these. We did this endeavor where we planted trees. So we took about 100 people from Ambuja Cement and our studio, our factory staff, about 200 people in all, and we took them all there. These mountains ahead of Bhiwandi, which is forest land, which has been given to an NGO. And we spent the entire day planting trees. So saplings, not trees. But so it's basically land where a lot of the local guys burn the forest to hunt for local pigs. So just for food. So a lot of it gets deforested. So that time we printed these T-shirts with plant a tree, and that's like planting hope and stuff like that. So I said, okay, I must pull this out for Chintan.
Sure.
Sorry, I lost my chain of thought. Where were we?
We were, how does Rajiv become timeless? How does reD Architects?
So I think contextual is the way we go. So what I would do is, like, for example, I would pair a khadi jacket with, the fanciest branded glossy LV shoes, but I don't have to spend on everything. I need to balance. I can do simple, locally available stone, make it look as kick-ass as the fanciest, most expensive of Italian marbles, or even better in my opinion. And pair it with, or pair Italian furniture with Indian, locally handcrafted charpais, things like that. But it has to fit. It has to fit the client. It has to fit the tone. It has to fit the overall vision for that space and the brand that you're designing for. But that's what I would say is us.
I have a confession to make, Rajiv. Before meeting you, I used to always think, sabse acha ghar would be like, spending on the best marble, spending on the best furniture. But I remember 2.5, 3 years back, we both had a meeting. That time you made me understand, Chintan, I did something with a kota stone. Or, some I used a flooring which was 50 rupees per square feet. But that
Right.
house has turned out to be really cool. So that is one thing that I have learned from, interacting with you, Rajiv.
But
Rajiv,
it's not unique. Sorry, yeah, finish. It's
no,
not
no,
unique.
no.
There are lots of architects, designers who are actually currently even fixated with the idea of exploring more sort of traditional, handcrafted, older methods of our culture, which maybe we went through a phase where we were fixated with, imported, so to speak, and even if you look at a lot of our architecture, there's a lot of influence from the world. But I think now there's a younger crop of people who are influenced by the world, but are also carrying the baggage of our sort of practices and methods and locally available labor and material, and are innovating in some, stunning ways.
Right. Rajiv, we have a lot of real estate developers who follow Wise Exchange. What would be your, advice to them?
So I said this on another platform, so maybe I'm repeating myself to people who've seen it, but I'm a strong believer of information, of mining data for knowledge, interpreting data for knowledge. So firms like yours, which basically are research driven, and part of our name is research, and it stems from that. Like we designed a hospital in Kanpur. We did research on 6 or 8 hospitals across the country, understood methodology, disease spread. We tried to get data from them on how many patients come, how many are infections, how many get converted into other infections. But a lot of data, a lot of people withhold and don't share transparently. Luckily, I feel if we can pay for big data, I feel builders, developers should spend good money on doing research in the dynamics of that region. One of our architectural colleagues from Kamala Asia, Connect for Designs, Ruchita Manoj, they worked with a brand consultant, Rutu, I forget the company's name, but and they did a report on their own, which is available online for free for everyone, on a particular region where they were designing. They interacted with about 100 or 200 as a sample set, and the learnings from it, could be so minor. Could be about adaptability of space. Could be about how people want more storage. Some things you might already know, but some things will change. Today, I don't think everyone who buys a 10 crore apartment is looking for the same thing. Depending on the neighborhood, on the city, even the macro cities. Bombay is like a city of cities. So I feel people in Andheri will want different things from people in Parel versus people in Powai versus. So I feel if builders would spend some amount of their energy, time, and resource, because it costs money to do research, but if they would spend that, then that becomes a design brief for us as architects, versus just only. I feel don't just talk to brokers, because our buildings today are designed for the Swiggy delivery guy, for the Uber guy to come in. They're designed for interior designers to come in and do renovations. That means you have carpenters, electricians, civil guys, all of them going up and down your property. Amazon is delivering dime a dozen to all of our properties, right? Construction is going on any given point. Out of 200 apartments, let's assume 7 to 10% are doing renovations. How do people live during a consistent renovation? Because for the building, that means 24 hours, 7 days a week, there is someone or the other renovating at any given time. So you need to, I feel if you were to, even brokers, right? A lot of people, whenever we've interacted, we're doing this building in Bangalore for Cardinal, and we interacted with larger real estate brokerage firms, but it's not data which is mined, cataloged, and presented to you as information. It is very intuitive still. It's like Chintan is a very knowledgeable guy in the industry, so I'll pick up the phone and tell Chintan, I'm doing something here. What do you know about this? What do you think should be the thing? And then people are telling me like, oh, you can do a 400 square feet apartment or a 500, or the brief comes to you as 1,000 square feet, 700, because the ticket size becomes the determinant, right? While I understand that is key, and that is also an aspect to be considered, but that is just one of the aspects to be considered. I need to think of the AC servicing guy. How will I maintain the plants, drip irrigation system? So I feel as an architect, you are literally like the orchestra symphony operator. You're in charge of making sure all the different instruments which are playing to create this experience for the end user is fantastic, which makes the project profitable for the builder. So versus the the sales guy or the purchase guy dictating decisions. I think it's a great idea for a builder to say, like, look, I need to spend $100, be it 100 crores, or 10 crores, or whatever the budget is. I need to spend this ticket. Now, let's talk to someone who mines data. Let's understand that from this expense, I need to generate this revenue. Then you can decide whether you want to spend on the facade, you want to spend on the experience, you want to spend on giving more square footage, you want to spend on built-in laundries. Like right now, I mean, we were, thinking about different ways post-COVID in the studio, and we were debating how entry and exit protocols in societies should change. How do you sort of ensure the safety of inhabitants? How do you give them a certain amount of comfort in all the common amenity spaces that you're providing? I mean, builders are providing huge clubhouses, 50,000, 70,000 square feet. And all these clubhouses are lying to waste, in this current situation. So essentially the point is, like, if all of this could be taken into surveys, people like you should go out there and, or be hired by builders, should go out on their own steam, but should be hired by builders to go out and conduct research. And that research should feed the design solutions being offered. So that would be my sort of bit to builders in general. Please tap into big data, use it to your advantage, have apna, Geo is going to control 99% of all data in our country going forward. So everyone, all builders should be friends with Mukesh Bhai. Mandatory requirement.
और सबको रेड करना चाहिए. Research, inquiry, design.
हाँ, तीनों करना चाहिए. Priority to all three. पहले research करो, फिर inquire करो चिंतन से, और फिर designer को दो.
Perfect. Rajiv, again, this is a very common question we ask all our architect friends. Where do you guys get your inspiration from?
So inspiration is, this you'll get a common answer from, I'm sure, everyone. I mean, I would say inspiration is everywhere, in every interaction, in every drive through a city, every time you're walking around. We're trained now to only look at defects. I saw your interview with Krupa, and she said that, you walk into a space and she'll look at shoes, she'll look at everything. And I think I on the other side, it's good. She's far more positive, I feel, than I am. I only see defects. I walk into my own projects and I can only see defects. I can see mistakes. I can see things we could have done better. I can see little, ye screw chhoot gaya, ye kona toot gaya, this, maybe we handed over the project 5 years now. So I was actually talking to one of the editors of a periodical, of a design publication. And I was talking, I messaged her basically. And I said that, I feel something that we need to focus on is, because I see a lot of our projects, and, what I like about them is that, you see it when it's built. You see it ideated, like you see a 3D view. Then you see the end product, which the architect will have a stylist look at and photograph in perfection. And then you see how it has aged 5 years, 10 years from now. And I feel the success of a project that we should judge ourselves by, the benchmark for us to look at, saying that whether we were good at this project or we were not good at the project, is seeing how it ages. Design needs to last. I know you spoke on timeless design. Then the reason I kind of said contextual and we're not timeless is because I feel the appeal of a design, no matter how, changes. Because I, as a human being who's living in that space or walking through that space, or even if I'm just looking at the facade of a building, I might just be living in the neighborhood and I might walk past that building every day. And that building's a part of my visual experience. My preferences change because I change as a human being. So as much as some places have a timeless appeal, but I feel humanity is changing its preferences very fast. We're all exposed to so much content that what I like and dislike, because I only saw a certain amount of things before, and now I've seen a lot more over the next year. So now I've seen more, and now in that context, I put this in a different perspective. The design still work for me, but it may not have that appeal that it had on day one. But if the project ages beautifully, it's not damaged, it's not chipping, little things like every time, maintenance guy mops it, I don't want things to chip, if I design them in a way that when people are moving furniture, like in today's day and age, right? Everyone who lives, a lot of our clients are far more privileged than us. We still live in small apartments, but a lot of the homes we do are super extravagant, super sort of spacious, with all sorts of program built into it. And they're all, of course, enjoying their homes right now, which they normally didn't have time for earlier. But it's nice to see how they age, and even in those homes, people are changing the use of space. So in the smaller apartments, like your living rooms have become gyms, have become home offices, have become classrooms for the kids. So the spaces need to adapt, and we all need to basically design for things to be able to sort of change based on our requirements. And therefore, that timelessness is a bit of a sort of dual-sided coin,
Right. Rajiv, we as Wisebiz are supporting an initiative by reD, which is like a national body which represents all the real estate developers in the country. And on behalf of us, they talk with the government. So they have an initiative, and with your permission, I would like to play a video of one of the recent initiatives.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So Rajiv, this particular initiative, it is on change.org, and reD was expecting around 50,000 people to sign this signature, and in hardly few days, already 48,000 people have signed this petition. And I would
Wow.
request to all the viewers and also through Rajiv Parekh that please, it's not for developer, or it's not for real estate brokers, or it is for each and everyone who is related to real estate. It will help the interest rate down. It will help us as an industry to grow, and there are almost 300 industries which are connected to real estate. So I would again appeal everyone to please go on the link which is shared with this live feed, to click on it after the episode. Not now, I want you guys to see the entire episode, but once this episode is done, I would request everyone to please sign the petition by clicking on the change.org link which is given in this particular thing. So Rajiv, what it is, we have we'll quickly go to what it may be, the future, which I think is your favorite part, and I would love to know as an architectural perspective from you, what it may be. What will the future home look like, Rajiv?
So,
I would, before starting, I would want to say there's this video of yours which I love. In this particular video, so Rajiv is asked about how about German companies talking about all their bathing accessories. So Rajiv is like, everyone talks about how to get wet, no one talks about how to get dry. So this is like, the thought process of Rajiv. That's why I'm excited for this particular section. What it may be, what will the future home look like, Rajiv?
So I'm super optimistic about the future. I honestly believe that there's no downside. That there is a, let's say, a momentary sort of slip, or a momentary sort of experience which is slightly unpleasant. But I feel in that sort of hidden is an opportunity, and it's I think someone way smarter or way eloquent than me has put it, saying that in every crisis is actually a hidden opportunity. And I actually believe that. I honestly don't think there is a downside to 99% of life's situations. There's always some upside which will come out of that. It just depends on how you deal with it. It's like when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. I saw a video, one of those, army of WhatsApp forwards you get. And, when everything was flooded in Bombay just, a couple of days back, there were kids who had climbed on the BST bus, and they were doing cartwheels and, using the entire city or the road as a swimming pool. There was some other video where two guys who were just, floating along the streets of the city on a plank, and they were really lying down. Yeah. And I'm like, that's it. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Life is going to give you a blow every day. You learn to roll with the blows. And if you can adapt, then you can take the impact of that blow, use it as your advantage, and push it in. Use that force which the world is bashing you. Use that force to your advantage. Direct it in a way that will take you to somewhere else, which you may not have gone if the world had not boxed you. So that's what I look at it, and I feel the same way. As much as we're all apprehensive about what lies ahead, what is going to happen, I understand there is an uncertainty, but enjoy the uncertainty. The uncertainty means that if something is destroyed, something new comes out of it. We recently designed a table with Orvi as a part of India Design Fund, which was auctioned online, and I was obsessed with that idea of destruction leads to creation. Right? Historically, cities have been destroyed, be it by pandemics, be it by plague, be it by a nuclear bomb. And then they've come out bigger, stronger, far nicer than they would have ever been if they had not been destroyed. So there is merit in destruction. In that table, we're exploring the idea that a simple clay leg, when it's crushed, there's just the act of crushing it, destroying it, so to speak, is creating something else, which is leaving the imprint of that person's hand. And that artisan, that karigar, is actually physically signing the product. It's designed by me. I shouldn't say designed by me. It's imagined by us as reD, but it's created by an artisan who otherwise would never be known. Now he's left his sort of haath ki rekhaye imprinted into that work. So I feel similarly, if builders, if developers, if homeowners, you cut through, you destroy that piece of MDF to create something new. Thank you for having it there. So
this was not scripted. This was not scripted. This is gifted like I think 2 Diwali pehle और आजकल दिवाली में कोई gift नहीं मिल रही है. So Rajiv,
right.
This year I want to be on that amazing. This is all handmade, if I'm not wrong, right?
No, that is machine made, but that owl, that stone, which was painted by an artist, which is this paperweight, which is Ullu ka patta.
Ullu ka patta. Bro, my team is amazing.
You have to. I love them also. Thank you.
Exactly. And painted by Ullu ka patta for reD. So we have it. Yes, bro. Sorry.
But see, that's the idea. That's collaborations, right? That Diwali gift was about promoting this artist whose work I bumped into. And we just thought it was fantastic. And we should use this, to reach out to our clients and say that, our clients, our friends, our associates, to say that, look, I think this is great. Let's, please see what you like about it. And if you like it, please promote them. That sort of a thing. So, but anyway, so what it may be is, I feel if developers can sort of accept that this is a good opportunity to destroy all their preconceived notions about what homes have to be. Look at it like a fresh slate. Burn down all your old plans. Start afresh as if you have not learned anything in the world before. Like a child, like a newborn child, Look at it as if you did not have all your baggage of cynicism, of नहीं पर ये तो ऐसे ही होता है, नहीं ये ही बिकता है, सब लोग को यही उम्मीद है, अरे यार राजीव तुझे नहीं पता है, those kind of things. And start afresh, look at data, understand them with a fresh perspective, look at your consumer, your buyer, your, like I said, all the stakeholders in that project. And don't just look at the buyer, the broker, and the real estate. These three and the architect are actually they're just one of the 50 to 60 stakeholders in the project that are actually going to make the project successful or a failure. And if we do that, I feel the resulting innovation will be tremendous. I was talking to someone else and they were like, what do you think airlines will do? What do you think theaters will do? And, I was like, product designers should look at a way where you can take a car seat or a theater seat or a plane seat. I know a lot of the cars, a lot of the fancier cars have air conditioning vents built into your seat so that you're not sweating in your back, considering the kind of climate we live in. So similarly, you just have seats which push really hot air out at high velocities. So literally you have a blast of hot air. So every seat before, typically what you do with a vacuum cleaner, and you still don't clean the crevices and things like that. But you design a seat where the hot air blasting through will effectively sanitize, kill all germs, allowing then a moviegoer or the next occupant of that seat to be, mentally reassured that it's okay. I'm sitting on a nicely sanitized seat and I can touch this armrest. I don't have to sit like this. I don't have to do this. I can't not breathe. And if I touch the seat, then I can't touch my nose. So it takes away all of that fear. So similarly, it's a whole new way. It's all doable. There is no rocket science in it. People before us will have thought of it and done it, but just not put it in the right context. Maybe we do rounded corners. So what back in the days, I know in the US you already get curved corner tiles, but for some reason we don't like to pay for it in India. So that little bit 5-10% premium to create that mold of a ceramic tile which allows for a corner rounding. So you don't have a sharp corner. So you design situations which allow people to be germ free. So when we designed the Kanpur hospital, so a lot of the learnings from designing that hospital we're implementing in the residential projects. And like in the Cardinal project, we designed for 27 locations in an apartment where you can have a bathroom.
Wow.
Typically everyone will say you can only have a sunk slab here, or even now that a lot of people are doing flat slabs, so that you have suspended plumbing in your apartment below you. We've just planned for 27 different positions for the bathrooms. We've planned for a 4-bedroom apartment to become a 5.5 bedroom, a 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and a whole studio, like just one loft, like a giant 2,000 square foot loft. The idea is that if I give the occupant flexibility, and now sort of the builder who's working with us on this has built it into a sales brochure, obviously, that this is the range of layouts that you can do in this apartment. The way we've done it is that from the entry point onwards, and this is before COVID, this is not even due to COVID, this is something that we designed 2.5-3 years back. Maybe a little less. But the circulation for all your packages, delivery, and your interior repair work or renovation work and related workers, related deliveries is completely segregated. It enters the basement and there's a whole separate service core. So never does my occupant or my visitor bump into any of these people. So the occupant gets the privacy that they desire when they're using all the common amenity spaces. And even if there is work going on in my neighbor's apartment, the layout is such that the lift lobbies are completely private. So even if my immediate neighbor is renovating, I won't get one iota of dust from the common areas. If it flies out and comes around because of the wind, it's a different thing. But I will not be disturbed. So if I can create an environment, today we're all living vertically stacked, congested, right? But that should not result in me having a fight with my neighbor or me having a disagreement with my neighbor. But that's if the architect has designed it in a way that I'm not clashing with the other one. So when we do large homes where there's a father, mother, 2 kids, their kids, it's fine. The area is there. It's 20, 30,000 square feet homes, 40,000 square feet homes. But we design them in a way so that each sibling, each parent, each child can have their private space and still have common spaces, still look into each other, different kinds of circulations. Even in large homes, there's a separate circulation spine for services. Like my staff, my security, my housekeeping, my gardener, there's a separate circulation core in these large homes. But I feel that makes the living experience more enjoyable, more sort of, like it's almost like you magically get a tray. Like right now, we're doing this in Goa. We're doing the King's Mansion, which is with Gauri Khan's design studio as a collaboration.
This is the old Kingfisher Villa?
So Kingfisher Villa is now King's Mansion. It's been taken over by Sachin Joshi, who owns King's Beer. And it's a transformative wellness retreat. It's this uber super luxury, just a very exclusive 17-room property with 17 therapy rooms. So you can get from all your sort of most modern day cryotherapy, your spine clinic, your beauty treatments, all your facial sort of, nothing invasive. There's no surgery, but all your non-invasive stuff combined with Ayurveda, combined with the Indian sort of treatments which are for wellness, for internal sort of recalibration and purification process. And of course, your typical yoga, and then you have your gymnasium and your workouts and your spine clinics. So it's a combination of all things just for personal transformative wellness. Uh, the idea is that you go there for a week, you go there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but you literally come back recharged, recalibrated, um, and rejuvenated. So he's doing a fantastic job of it. I mean, his vision for the place is something else. But what I was getting to is that we have a single corridor. It's a long, thin strip all the way from the beach to the Candleham Main Road. And there's strong central spine, but the central spine is only for the 17 into 2 max 30, so 72, that shit, I'm bad at maths, but 34. So let's say 34 guests at peak occupancy, but it's catered to by a staff of almost 100 odd people or more. But these 100 people have 2 other spines, right? So these 2 spines, your plate will only exit out of the spine at your door. You will never see a guy with a service trolley in the lobby. You won't see a housekeeping guy in the lobby. It feels so private, so personal. It's like living in your own bungalow or your own private home. But that's the way it is. It's kind of King's Mansion in the sense that, you're going into the King's house. And of course, that property historically has Vijay Mallya's sort of image superimposed onto the fact that what it's going to be now. So, regrettably, it was his home which he had to let go under sort of unpleasant situation. But I feel what it's becoming now and how we're again using just circulation, not, again, like for developers, it's not about money, it's not about spending more, it's just about good thought process and planning, and that kind of changes your experience. Now, whether I put Italian marble or 10 rupee or leave it PCC, but this experience you can't take away.
Right. Rajiv, from the last 2-3 episodes, we have seen a lot of architecture students and people who want to interior designing joining us. They are watching it live right now. What would be your guidance to them?
So I would say 2 things. One is work hard. Like, perseverance. No matter how many times the world will sort of tell you this is not how you do it. If you believe in it, have conviction, follow through with it. Maybe you're wrong, maybe you're right, but unless you persevere, you will not be convinced whether what you were doing is right or wrong. So go with your instinct, trust your instinct. It's the most powerful thing that you have. At your core, there's a belief in what you believe you should do. Run with that, and hopefully it serves you well. But even if it's wrong, your instinct will tell you when you're wrong. Don't let the world tell you whether you're right or wrong. That's one thing. The other thing is collaborate. I feel my best learnings have come from my partners, from my associates, from my staff, from team members, from young kids. I have learned a lot. I've learned from artists. I've learned from my carpenter, Narayanji, who was my carpenter. I feel everything I know about detail, which I sort of brush into in my, with my factory work also, where the furniture factory is there. I feel I learned a lot from Narayanji, who was my old sort of Marwadi carpenter. I feel collaborate, keep your eyes and ears open, learn from everyone, just be a sponge, absorb. If you can do that, you're sorted. Whether you succeed financially, whether you do well in your practice, but you will feel a success. And I feel your feeling of being a success is more important than any of the fancy things you can buy with your money or anything the world tells you whether you're successful or no. That doesn't matter. If you look in the mirror and you feel, shit, dude, I'm a rock star. Like, Chintan, I look at Chintan every day and I know Chintan looks in the mirror and he says, I'm a rock star. And he believes it. He believes it in his inner core that Chintan is a rock star. And that faith or that belief comes across in every interaction you have with any human being. And that will hold you in good stead.
I say I'm a rock star. Rajiv mera bada bhai hai.
Thanks for telling everyone I'm much older than you, but it's okay. I'll take it.
Rajiv, there's a very nice comment by my CEO, Harsh. He says, when life gives you lemon, sell them and invest in real estate. So
I'm apprehensive about investing in real estate, yeah. But
once you go to Rajiv, he'll design the best house for you if he has time, because he's one of the most busiest architects right now. Rajiv, a lot of our guests have given us wonderful suggestions regarding breakthrough concepts that they've discovered during the pandemic time. and they want to get used to it, and they intend to implement it. What would be your one breakthrough idea which you discovered in this phase, and you would want to implement it in red or your life?
So I think in the long run, what I will definitely implement is the level of sanitization and cleanliness that this pandemic has taught most people. Um, Typically in our sites, workers would spit and things like that. But I have seen those same workers now become more considerate about how they behave and in that sort of environment. I think that will be a good learning. The other learning is, of course, which I'm a little scared of also, but I will end up implementing for sure is online interactions, online collaboration. So where I feel I was limited with geography, where I would like to physically for people to come to my studio to be able to work with them. I think I'm more open to the idea of someone in any part of the country or world. So there's already a collaboration that we're doing with someone who's in Mexico. He was one of my classmates in AA, and we're trying to use him because we don't have people in the studio with really good Grasshopper, with really good sort of Rhino skills. And there is a certain design idea that we're trying to do, and we're using his studio. He runs his own studio in Mexico, and we're trying to collaborate with him to achieve the end goal that we were striving to. So I feel the online collaboration will allow us to actually spread our wings even wider and be able to accomplish things which certain limitations of geography were not allowing us. So I think that is something which I would like for my studio to imbibe and practice more regularly.
Right. On behalf of Wisebiz, Rajiv, I would want to thank you for coming on board for Wise Exchange. And before you go, as I've told you, we need a small bite from you for my digital team. It says, "Hi, I'm Rajiv Parekh. It's an e-talk show and not a Zoom call."
I can't say it with the same level of drama and panache that you do it with, but I'm going to try it. So, hi, I'm Rajiv Parekh, and you're here with me on eBiz, which is shit. Can I do this again? I forgot, Chintan.
Yeah. You can keep doing it. We will select the best one.
Okay, no. So just tell me again.
Hi, I'm Rajiv Parekh. It's an e-talk show and not a Zoom call. And I
Hi.
have nothing against Zoom call. It's just like, I love this software more, and Zoom call becomes very, it's a very serious thing. This is
True.
more chilled out. It's more like red level.
Okay, so hi, I'm Rajiv Parekh, and you're with me and from reD Architects, and this is an e-talk show and not a Zoom call.
Thank you, Rajiv. Any parting words for everyone?
Nothing. Thank you, Chintan, for having me. Drop in for a cup of coffee whenever you're driving through next.
Thank you so much, Rajiv, for coming on board.
Thank you.
That was architect Rajiv Parekh from reD Architects. We would love to know from you, how did you like this particular episode? We will be back again next week with a new guest. And thank you so much for writing to us. I would again give you our email address, which you can reach us to us at connect@wisebiz.in. Thank you so much for everyone who have joined us today. And we have a lot of this was our 7th episode. If at all you have missed any of the episode, you can go back and go through those episodes. Thank you so much for coming on board, and we will see you very soon.